Hello everyone, it's Cassie. Welcome back for another Missing Stamps video. Today we're going to be playing with our Stuck Duck stamp set. I have used this one once before, just using the little pieces of duct tape, but this one is one of my favorites. I love the silly sentiments in there. They just make me smile, and sometimes you just need that. We're also going to bring in our Ins and Outs Quatrefoil stencil. We've got our Tropical Trellis stencil and our Feed the Birds stencil. Y'all know I love to layer up some stencils. You can get some really cool backgrounds doing that. And I'm going to bring in this Kraft cardstock that I have. I'm going to tape it down to my Tonic platform, and we're going to start with the Ins and Outs Quatrefoil. I'll use the stencil itself, and then I have a mask. And that is going to stick there because I have already used Pixie spray on that once before, and I didn't scrub it off, so it's perfect. It's great. So that's going to stay put. And there's the other part of the stencil. We're actually not going to use that one, but now I'm going to bring in our Feed the Birds. Now, this is a darker type of Kraft cardstock. A lot of Kraft cardstocks aren't maybe this dark, but there's so many different variations in Kraft cardstock. I got this one from Hobby Lobby, actually. I was trying to do a different type of project and didn't want to use my more expensive stuff. And then come to find out this stuff wouldn't fit through my printer. So I was like, well, I'm not returning it. So obviously I opened it. So we're going to use it somehow. So I've brought in some fossilized amber to start, and it doesn't really show up. So you can see, it's kind of there, but it's kind of not. There are different techniques you can use to get colors to pop on your Kraft cardstock, but I decided I just wasn't going to do those. So I lined my stencil right back up, and I brought in some spiced marmalade and just kind of went over the top. Didn't clean off my stencil, obviously, because those are kind of in the same color family. And I like that. That is better. It shows up a little bit more. It's not like super prominent, but it's fine with me. I've cleaned up my mess, and I'm bringing in our Tropical Trellis. And then I've got Prize Ribbon. That is the blue that I'm putting on here. And these are all Distress Oxides because I wanted those to sit on top. And not just kind of blend into each other. And once I pull this away, you kind of lose the Feed the Birds stencil a little bit, but it is definitely still there, and in person you can see it, just not so well on the camera. But I'm happy. I think this looks good. And so I'll pull away the mask because I do decide that I want to make that pop a little more. So I'm going to clean up my mess, and then we'll bring that back in, and we'll bring in our Ins and Outs Quatrefoil stencil, and we'll stick that down on top, lining that up. It's really easy to line up. There are some embossed edges to kind of line that right up to make sure that that's centered. And then I'm going to bring in some Shark Tooth white pigment ink from Ink on 3 and blend that in that center. So that'll make that center pop a little more while keeping the integrity of the craft on everything else. So I like that. It did kind of bleed in some edges, but that's okay. We're going to do my favorite technique, which is to splatter. So I brought in a silver and a little bit of water. We're going to splatter that all over the background. I just love splatter for so many reasons, but it also kind of covers up some mistakes, or at least takes your eyes away from some of those mistakes that maybe you made. And I just love this. It's opaque, it sits on top, and then it's nice and shiny. I have a piece of Express It cardstock, and I'm going to ink up my images using some blackout ink by Ink on 3. Those are alcohol marker friendly, the two together. The Express It is nice and smooth and crisp white, and then the blackout just works really well with, it doesn't bleed when you're using alcohol markers. So I'll also stamp out my sentiments while we're here. Might as well, right? That one that says life status, currently holding it together with duct tape. Kind of the story of my life right now, but it is okay. And then I stamp out the other one. What do you mean you can't fix this with duct tape? So what I typically do when I'm coloring with alcohol markers is I will start with a lighter color. There's a couple reasons for that. That kind of, you can build up your color that way. But also sometimes I'm not sure how dark I want to go. So I'll start with that lighter color, and that'll help me to decide whether or not I like it that dark or if I'd like to go a little darker. And in this case, I did want to go a little darker. And these were the Cool Grace. That first one was CG1. This is CG3. I decided I needed this to be a little bit darker than what it was. So we're going to go ahead and color all of that with our CG3. And then to add some shading, we'll bring in the CG5. These are Olo markers. These are fairly new to the industry. And I've been using them a lot, and I'm really enjoying them. So I'm going to add some shadowing. I'm not going to blend it out, but these markers do blend very beautifully. But I'm not going to blend that out. I like the harsh line there. I think that definitely adds to the drama of the light, you know, where the light is. And so we'll leave that just as it is. And then I'm going to come in and color his beak with some O 2.4. And then for shadowing and shading, we'll bring in the O 2.5. And we won't blend that out either. We'll just keep it as is. And it's here that I've decided I didn't like the CG1 for the duck, so we're going to bring in a contrast. We'll bring in some WG3. So we've got our cool gray and our warm gray, and then I'm going to blend that out with our WG1. So I like that contrast. It kind of, and then you can definitely see the difference between your cool grays and your warm gray. I think it's cool, and I really like it. So once that's done, I'm going to fussy cut out both our duck and our duct tape. And then we'll bring in our guillotine trimmer to trim down our sentiment, both of our sentiments. Just lining those up in there, trying to make sure everything's nice and straight. And do the same thing with this one as well. This one's going to go on the inside. And you could just stamp right on the inside, but I wanted the contrast of the white. And so I'll just trim those down. And then we can bring in our card base, which is some more of that Kraft cardstock. And I actually really like the quality of this one. It's not super heavyweight, but it is not super lightweight either. I think it might be an 80-pound. And I think it's from Paper Studio there at Hobby Lobby. So really like it. We'll use some liquid glue to attach down our panel to our card base. And then I'll do the same thing with the inside of the card. We'll just grab that sentiment. And yes, that's the cats running around. They're chasing each other. What do you mean duct tape won't fix it? And then our little stack of duct tape, we'll stick that there. And then I decided to bring in some foam squares for our duck and our sentiment, so I'll put that all over the back. Take off that release paper. We can stick our duck down kind of in the center. Do the same thing with our sentiment, and then we can, I'm eyeballing it, but you could bring in like a T-ruler. That would really help to make sure that you don't screw it up. But we're happy. I'm good with this. I think it worked out well. I'm going to leave it as is, no embellishments, and that is going to finish off our card for today. So if you like this video, be sure to hit that like button. Definitely consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. And huge thank you for supporting me the way that you all do, whether it be using my affiliate links or even just watching the video. I appreciate you. Thanks, and I'll see you soon.